we've got another transition question. And just like the others on this test that we've seen so far, the strategy is really just kind of treat this like a game and use the dumb summaries of these words to really beat the SAT here at what it's trying to do to trap you. So we can read these sentences. Some employers utilize several approaches simultaneously, developing a framework that suits the particular needs of their employees. So, okay, several approaches. Skipping the transition, the figure illustrates a simple yet comprehensive professional development model created for special education personnel. Okay, so this is maybe one model and there's multiple models. I don't really know. I don't really know the relationship between these. They're not opposites. They're not that related is really what it comes down to. So when I go to the choices, that's kind of confusing because I'd really like to have a good idea of what I'm supposed to be focused on. I don't have a dumb summary right now. I have, I don't know, just like a regular old summary, I guess. So the words, though, really help us out because we can dumb summarize these very complicated transition words and turn them into more simple ones that we use every day. Nevertheless, and besides that, are two words that we would use for a contrast. So they both mean something kind of like the word but. Now look, I do not think that these sentences have any contrast whatsoever. But even still, there's no difference between B and C. They both mean the same thing. So even if there was like a slight contrast here, we couldn't pick B and C because they both have the same meaning. There's no real way to determine which one is right and which one is wrong because they mean the same thing. So this is playing the game of the SAT. This is using those dumb summary versions of these words to our advantage. We know that if the words mean the same thing, they can't both be right. Occasionally there's an exception, but it's so rare. And in this case, the only reason I would pick a contrast word is if I knew that there was a contrast in this sentence somehow. And there's just not. There's no evidence of that. So that leaves me with either deleting it or this other thing around the same time. Well, what time? What time are they talking about? There's nothing like an event. There's no chronology here. They're just talking very generally about, I don't know, these frameworks and these models. There's no time. So that's just weird. And so, yeah, I must be able to delete it. And I know that that makes people nervous, but we just proved it by just thinking about the way that these other choices kind of interact with each other and interact with the lines. Like, it's not so much that I know that I need to delete it. It's more just that I kind of know these other three don't work. And so I'm, all right, if that's all that's left, I'll delete it. And that's how a lot of these transition questions work, is we're kind of forced to pick between words that we ourselves would not often use. So we can't just go by what we would say because that's not going to be a choice. We need these kinds of games for these questions and these dumb summaries to simplify these words so we can better understand what they're trying to say, what matches, and what doesn't, what cancels itself out. That's why I like these transition ones. Everyone gets these wrong a lot. But if you understand the game, these become much easier, even though they are usually very hard questions.